Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. How was the trip? Yes, I know. Teleportation is an acquired taste, but I'm sure you will get used to it in the time. If you've got a bit of sick, don't worry. My synthetic attendants will see to your every need. Now, you are here for a very special purpose. You are to be my first protege. I've never had a protege before. Well, that's not entirely true. After all, I did have a few, and I was forced to dispose of them. They were disappointing. But you, I think you've got what it takes to be what the media likes to call supervillain. Now, first things first, your lair. Now, I like to go with the classics. Your lair should be vast. Why? Because you're going to have many different interests in your personal activities. You need to research. You've got to build. Do you think my laboratory to create my synthetic life forms was small? No! It was the size of 2 football fields. Now, of course, that was several layers ago, and that's a big part of building your lair. You must be willing to abandon it at a moment's notice. Do not let your love of things let yourself become captured by those miserable do-gooders. Unfortunately, with the multitude of powers that they possess, at some point they will raid your lair. Do not see this as a failure on your part. Now, if they get in here because of you, I will see it as a failure on your part, and I will skin you alive. But when it happens to you, it's just going to happen. Do not feel bad. See it as an opportunity, because what have you put inside your lair? That's right, innumerable death traps, each one more devious than the last. And that's not a turn of phrase, by the way. These death traps start out very simple, big claw-crushing things that pop out of the ground, all fun stuff like that. But then, progressively more dangerous, poison gas that falls from the ceiling, and then finally the traps of the mine, hypno beams to turn the heroes against one another. Or my personal favorite, using one of my wonderful synthetic creations, to make them in the likeness of one of the hero's loved ones. Oh, that's a good one. Now, obviously, you don't always know what your loved ones might be of the hero, but if you do your research, you'll find a girlfriend or two that you can turn against them. Oh, help me, Mr. Fantastic. I'm lost. Oh, it works every time. And you see, they're still thinking about the physical. They're still thinking, where's those big claws that are going to close in on me? And they're not thinking that their loved one might be a living bomb. Now, obviously, you're not going to sit in your lair all day, and in fact, you're not going to be able to afford your lair unless you get out and do some crimes. Now, There are many different ways to acquire what you need. Remember that money is only a means to an end. We aren't in this for money. We are in this for power. Now, money is a kind of power. You would be amazed how many of our compatriots who are beginning to muscle it on your territory you can send packing with just a few million tossed in the right direction. And of course, to say nothing of bribing local officials. But the fact that you can bribe them so easily with this worthless, meaningless paper should show you how far above them you are. But money is still going to be very important early in your career. And you're going to need a lot of it. I recommend starting with banks. Now here's the thing. If you go to New York and you knock over a bank, the odds are about 78%. 78%, yes, I've run the numbers. There's going to be a hero either in the bank, in their uncostumed form, or flying by in the 3 minutes it takes you to grab the cash. So what I've figured out is go to Nebraska, go to Illinois, go anywhere other than New York or LA or one of those highly populated areas filled with superheroes. You know what the banks have at the right time in those places? Lots and lots of money. Oklahoma is a good one because of all the casinos. Knock over the right casino on the right night. Ever seen Ocean's 11? Ha ha! Good times. But remember, this isn't your ultimate goal. You're just trying to build a little capital. You're going to need to find what it is you want to do. This is about control. This is about power. Now, do you want to take over the world? Good luck with that. Now, I'm not saying that you can't. If you are dedicated enough, and if you think you're foolish enough to think that you can defeat me, then by all means, go for it. But I would suggest against trying to rule the world. Really, not only would it be a tremendous hassle, can you imagine trying to control all of the world leaders simultaneously? And then you'd also have to contend with every other supervillain, not to mention the combined power of every superpowered being on the planet? It would be madness. No. Think about what you want. Think about good old Dr. Doom. He and I aren't close friends. I froze a good bit of his armor once during a little kerfuffle, and he still hasn't forgiven me. But he is now the sovereign of an entire nation. And that's something to be proud of. He controls that nation. He has immunity to do so as he will. Now, it also means that he has a few restrictions put on him as well. But it's up to you. This particular lair, out in a remote island that isn't technically supposed to exist, that may or may not be part of the ancient city of Atlantis, and have certain mystical properties that is keeping the various mystical idiots from teleporting into my lair and zapping me with their little hand gestures. Well, I am king here. I am emperor. I am ruler over all I survey. Now, true, currently, all I survey are my synthetic beings, but I've thought of bringing in a few colonists and beginning a small community absolutely under my sway. And you might want to do the same. Think about what your end goals are. Think about the kind of villain you want to be. And remember that that is such a meaningless word. Villain. Really. Why do they call you that? Because you wear a costume? I wear a suit. I'm a businessman. I'm a respected captain of industry. I've also got some power armor that I can put on if need be. But you wear a costume. You've got some pretty interesting powers that I'd love to find out more about. But why are you a villain? Because you rob a bank? No, you're a villain because they don't want you to be free. They want to restrict what you do. And moreover, they want to tell you what to do with your powers. Why do you think I've invited you here? I've seen the way the heroes have been treating you recently. I've seen your disagreements. You're ready for something more, aren't you? Speaking of which, it's inevitable. You're going to get a nemesis. By the way, you almost never plan to get a nemesis. Some of us, like myself, pick the most powerful person on the planet and decide that they're going to destroy them. I have lofty goals. What can I say? But normally what happens is after a while, a certain hero just tends to foil your plans, and suddenly you have a nemesis. Now, what are you going to do about that? You could kill them. Oh, are you surprised? Oh, are you saying that I am false in that I haven't killed my nemesis? Is it because he's extremely powerful, or because he can smash boulders with his pinky? No, no, no. I keep him around because I like to torture him. But for you, this is my recommendation. Keep your nemesis and learn everything you can about them. The way they fight, the way they think, whether or not they make quips before delivering a blow. And you can become terrifying to that hero. You can devise traps, the likes of which will scar them for the rest of their life and make them ineffectual. But because they're your nemesis, the other heroes tend to kind of give them a little breathing room. They tend to let them do their thing. Meanwhile, your hero is too messed up to stop you. You walk over them. And yes, even let them win once in a while. Let them raid a small lair that you don't care about. Having said that, at some point you will go to jail. Now, I will be happy to help you with my army of lawyers, but I highly suggest you get some of your own before too long. What you'll find is that the justice system is simply not set up to people of our caliber. It's set up for little vagabonds with little domino masks on, pointing their tiny little guns. 7-Elevens. They are not designed for you. The jury doesn't know what to do with a supervillain like you. Either you'll get off on a technicality, or perhaps the third member of the jury will have their child threatened with imminent death. But at any rate, you'll get off. And that brings us to the final point. A certain caped crusader is famous, but not killing. I could tell you a thing or two about that. But here's the thing. You will have to decide whether or not you're going to kill. Are you going to kill to attain your objectives? It's perfectly fine if you do, and it can be quite entertaining. But you can also choose not to. The funny thing is, if you don't kill your heroes, your nemesis, they will always pull their punch a little bit more. So if you want my advice, there's only one time you should kill. And no, I don't mean your nemesis. The only time you should kill is someone your nemesis loves. So think about that. And by all means, come, sit at my table. My synthetic beings will be delivering supper soon. You and I have much to discuss. After all, we have to divvy up the entire world.